at these times in these places. So what I've realized is we have missed several opportunities with dogs and examples that because there wasn't any direction or someone looking at the situation going, hey, we can get this better if we move this way or we stack this way, or hey, put that dog's head down a little bit. Those kind of things have been missed and therefore kicked this can down the road. So I'm going to try to regroup on how that's been working and try to be present and only schedule present. I thought that we would have an opportunity to have a film team at the Nationals this year, and they have elected not to go to Greeley this year. So I will I'll regroup and we'll see what we can get um scheduled at those dates. Now here's the thing. There is another way that we can get what we want, and that is they do not have to be the person that films. If we were able to get clean film and photos, say like at our nationals, as an example, that was easily edited, you know, that the background we're conscientious of background and that sort of thing, we could use that material, and we already have a lot of photos that we are going to use this way, that material in the Canine College. So I'm kicking around trying to figure out how we can take quality examples and get them in a place where we can utilize them. So if anybody has any really great ideas about that, let me know. But the process has been slow because of this. It's not like we have a filming crew where people where are the examples that we need to be filmed are always present. So patience is a virtue, and hopefully by the end of the year we will have the stuff filmed and we can move on to the second part of it, which is adding more content to the actual Canine College. Anybody have any questions? Wow, guys are all quiet.
I have a question, Shauna.
Yes, sir.
This is Eve. Um, when you say second phase, just from my education, is there some form of activities or activity that has taken place that the AKC deems suitable, and then this is the only thing that's outstanding to say, okay, now we will have a kind of Corso breed education course published on Canine College? Am I interpreting that accurately?
Not sure I understand the way that let me just give you, maybe if I answer it what I think you're asking. the the way that is presented to me is we're in the data collection stage. They're doing they did interviews and they will continue to do interviews on breed experts. We will collect photos and videos and that sort of thing. So we're in the data and material collection phase. Then once we get where we think we have what we need, and I have kind of a list of the things that I know that what we have and kind of what we need, because I want this to be really great. I don't want it to be, you know, something we just throw together. So I have an idea of stuff that I really want to make sure that we have available to utilize. So this is the material collection phase. The next phase, once we have all that together, then we will begin to put that we will begin to they'll begin to edit the interviews, the videos, they will insert them, the photos, and collect the information that the breed club wants to present in this canine college. At that stage we will begin to put stuff together, and then what I will do as the liaison between the AKC Canine College and the board of directors is I will bring those mock-ups or those drafts to the board each stage of that. Once we have the data, the stuff collected and start putting it together, that's where the board will roll up their sleeves and I will bring stuff like if it's like a PowerPoint, let's just say it's like a PowerPoint, and each page that is put together and each video that's put together and each overlay and is put together, we will have an opportunity. You will have an opportunity as the board of directors. I will bring that stuff to them. We will vote on that, and we'll have a discussion. And then my job as a liaison is take it back to the AKC and say, okay, this is what the National Breed Club wants to include, and this is what we don't want to include, or we think this needs to be altered. They are willing to work with us and edit. That's where the back and forth and the editing begins, and the creation begins to make this product highly educational, so that when the fancy or judges watch it, they walk away from with a breadth of information and knowledge that they can refer back to. So, does that answer your question about the stages we're in?
It does. Thank you.
Annette, did you have a question? I thought I heard it.
I do. Hi.
Hi.
So Shauna, through this process of going through the steps and all this, I have two questions. So
Sure.
sorry. So
Sure, no, you're fine.
one question is, how long do you think this process will take? Will it obviously be a few months, not something that won't be out until next year? Or are you hoping to have it completed by the end of 2025?
That I don't see that that's possible, because we're just now starting to get all the materials that we need, and we still need filming.
Okay.
We still have some interviews to do. We still have animals to film and photograph. I am hoping that we have a member in the Colorado area that is a professional photographer and video and that sort of thing. I'm hoping that somewhere we can tap into some of that maybe and see what we can get. But the photos have to be just right so that we can edit them and take out people and anything that gives indication of whose dogs they are and handlers and all that. So we're collecting the stuff now, the raw material, and then the
Okay.
AKC, once we start putting it together, then the AKC will start sending stuff back to us and say, okay, this is what we've put together. What does the board think? And each step of the way, the board will approve that the material and the mock-ups that go into this presentation.
And so my second question is, once you get everything kind of back and the board looks at it, is it something that will be sent to membership to review?
No, it is not.
No. Okay.
The way that the AKC, their protocols are that the contract that I signed with the AKC made sure that I am committed, and I signed a contract that I would be the liaison and like the third person. And then after that, it specifically says that the board will approve stuff and then go back to the AKC. If we went to the membership, first of all, this isn't the standard. This is just breed education. So that is where the board of directors is in charge. The National Breed Club's board of directors in charge of overseeing AKC breed education. So that's the way the system works. Does that answer?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay.
Actually, I do want to make a quick comment. I'm sorry, it's Yvonne.
Hi, Yvonne.
I will say that it's got to be frustrating. It is frustrating because, I mean, those of us that have been around on the board long enough, that these are sometimes projects that start and end years apart. And my concern is all the effort that's going into it and everything that's happening with you or the current board or whatever, that we're aligned. And then the minute there's a change of board members, their AKC is so slow that the concern is, does that get dropped? Does it get mishandled? I mean, I don't know how to word it, but I think more than anything, I'm just vocalizing a frustration because the nature of how they do things being so slow is really frustrating when we turn directors and officers over every 2 years. And
Sure.
I, I, I really hope that they are either able to be more expeditious, or we are able to make sure that the ideology remains aligned, whether you're in the position or the position changes hands, if that makes any sense. Because in my head, I'm like, let's say somebody else for whatever reason comes in and then just goes a completely different direction. Does it start over? Does it never then come to fruition? Or if it does, it doesn't have the ideology that we all may have thought it would have. I don't know if I'm making sense.
You are. So let me address some of those concerns. First of all, I want to stand up for the AKC. Material collection is our responsibility. And so in a perfect world, we could have had, exactly what we needed at exactly the right time, and the stars all aligned, and the first time we photographed something, it turned out great. Okay, so right now they're waiting on our end to get the materials in. I have submitted a ton of materials. Right now, the only two things that are outstanding are movement videos. We finally got some side gate after filming like 5 dogs. Out of 5 dogs, we ended up with one clip that actually shows solid movement that you can point to it and say, if you find this in the ring, you can choose it every time, because it's been very difficult. You have to shoot. That's why they shoot movies over and over and over again, because the first take rarely works, right? So I want everyone to realize that we're not waiting on the AKC. I mean, we do have constraints because they are only available to film in 2 places or 3 places a year. And if they're filming in Florida and the dog that that might be the best example to move for this segment is in Washington State, that makes things complicated. See? So, because not every dog has something perfect in every place, and it's very, very difficult to find the examples. Photos, we can edit. Video, we cannot edit. The AI is not that advanced yet. So right now, they're waiting on us. They're waiting on our community. They're waiting on us. So I want to make sure that we don't throw them under the bus. Now, as far as how timely projects and stuff move, I agree it can be strung out. I think that and they know that. I think that is why when the board voted for me to be the liaison, that contract that I signed doesn't say as long as I'm in office or sitting in my position. It says until this project is completed, period.
Okay, so that just answered my question. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That answered my question. That was
Yeah.
So
okay, thank you.
So Shauna, whoever's in your office right now would just assume this if that board chooses that, and they would just continue to partner with AKC. I'm assuming, correct?
No. Let's just say, no, that's the contract with the AKC that the Breed Club, the board of directors voted that contract in, approved that contract, and I personally signed that contract with the AKC. So let's just say, next time I'm up for election and I fall down and break my leg and I don't want to anymore or whatever, somebody else takes that role. I am still obligated through the contract to finish this project.
But if you're no longer on the board, I'm assuming there's some mechanism where an addendum can be filed, and
I'm sure.
Okay.
Probably, but the thing is I think that to answer Yvonne's concerns, I think that's why they do that, so that they're not constantly trying to adjust and get somebody else online to do those things. I think that's why that they make the breed clubs and the person that the breed club signs, because a lot of times the person that signs that is not on the board of directors. It's usually their JEC.
Correct. Yep.
And so board of directors change, things change, and they wanted a constant thing. And I think that's probably why they have that contract. Now, I'm sure if the board went to it and say, we want to break it or whatever, that would be possible. But to address Yvonne's concerns, that over the course of the next couple of years, hopefully we'll be able to have the same group of people or generally the same group of people trying to get this project done. It should not, I don't think that we will have, hopefully we will have all the material we need by the end of this year. Hopefully we can get it all done and go through that stage in 2026 and have it done by the end of 2026. That's what I'm hoping. Does that help?
Yes, for me. Thank you.
Okay.
For me as well. Thank you, Shauna.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions, board, for Shauna on her topics? I think you have one more, don't you, Shauna?
I do. But the thing is I was hoping that we'd have a couple more people on. I just want to throw out that once again, maybe the board might want to begin to consider some accountability and putting some parameters on our processes as board members to ensure that we are, first of all, that we know what we're supposed to be doing and get stuff done in a timely manner, just like we did when we set up the way we vote and process. And there's, we've talked about code of conduct, we've talked about parameters for getting stuff done. I do want to bring up that in December 2021, we did some of this work, including requiring reports be handed in on a quarterly basis and published. And we've talked a lot about setting policy to help the board kind of run better. And I don't know if that's something that we have a lot on our plate right now. I don't know if that's something that we should go back to. Because if we had something like that in place, new board members could come in and they would know exactly what was expected to them on what time frame. And so I don't know if that's something that the board of directors wants to jump back into. And I was just bringing it up because I have heard a couple board members over the course of the last 6-8 months talk about maybe revisiting a code of conduct that ensures higher standards of performance and devotion to the club. Devotion's not the word. Sorry guys, I'm tired. Ensuring that the board of directors were operating in a manner that was efficient and that benefited the club to the best of their ability. So I don't know if anybody wants to talk about a code of conduct and parameters of what we can expect from each other, or if that's something we need to kick the can down the road. But I thought I would bring it up because we haven't really talked about it in a while.
I have input and I have mixed feelings because is Yvonne. Because while I fully understand the spirit of your approach, and I do, because I believe it's about involvement and it's about accountability and it's about trying to get people more active or just participation, increased participation. My concern is this. I get concerned when I see something like someone's in derelict of duty. So if we, let's say, vote on something, and just, it's going to be a long-winded thought process here, but let's say we vote on something. This board says, we're gonna say that this is what's expected of us, and if you don't perform to this standard, you have agreed that you are in derelict of duty, or the majority of the board agreed this. Well, the only way to remove somebody, let's say, so that we can have somebody in there that's fulfilling those performance metrics, is by grieving them. Because if it's an elected person and it's not an appointed person, you got to grieve them. So let's say you remove that person by grievance. This right here is the key that I am not comfortable with. Most of us that volunteer on the board are active in the confirmation and the sport world. So that means that if you grieve someone and they are suspended, they cannot accumulate points or qualify for any awards or anything during the period of their suspension. And while the spirit of it is to remove a board member that's not performing correctly per a certain standard, that is actually going to, in my opinion, really scare people that maybe aren't great at some things, but are really good at other things, because they're going to be like, if we get suspended, my dogs can't accumulate points. My dogs can't win awards. And that's my biggest fear, because we already have a very thin selection of people who want to even serve on the board. But if we throw that out there, it's going to thin it out even more, because and I'll use myself as an example. I've been horrible. Am I gone?
No, you're good. This is Eve.
Oh,
May I politely have a point of information, please?
Sure. Yes.
When you mention accumulation of points, I just want to clarify for the members listening. This is not AKC related, so they would still be able to participate in AKC events. This is specific to CCAA awards and credentials. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
Yes, 100%. 100%. But you get somebody like, any one of us on the board that's doing stuff with our dogs, we like those awards. That's one of the biggest reasons that a lot of people join a breed club, is the club awards. But I'm going to use myself as an example here, and I have no problem picking on myself. I've been horrible about calls this year. I've had life, work, a lot of things that have gotten in the way, and it's been incredibly difficult to get on calls. And let's not even say that how much I'm horrible at calls to begin with. But it doesn't mean that I don't work like an animal every single day on club stuff. So there's that balance of like, how do you motivate to get something out of a board member without losing your selection of board members? Because you instill something like that, you put into place, I'm sorry, that was the wrong word, you put into place a policy like that, where we all vote that if XYZ happens, you are admitting that you are in derelict of duty. That's it's kind of dangerous, because in the wrong hands, in the wrong board hands, it can be misused. And I just think that that's something we need to consider when we have this conversation about how to do this. So, I mean, those are my 10 cents on this. Thank you. I yield the floor.
Yvonne, this is Shauna. I actually have similar concerns. And when I've had these conversations, Benjamin Franklin said, or actually it wasn't Benjamin Franklin, it was Thomas Jefferson said that only moral people could be governed by the Constitution, because if you weren't moral, then you won't abide by the laws or the spirit of it. And so I understand what you're saying, because when we put into place a policy that is punitive, then we have to be willing to walk through the punitive steps. So that was one of the cons that has always been in the back of my mind. I think where we're at is that we were talking about it, the metrics are that we should be a juggernaut as a breed club, and being able to try to meet the goals of being number 14 in the country. And that takes literally everybody that's on the board, all hands on deck, doing the best they can. It doesn't mean 24/7s. We've talked about that. I don't have 24/7s either, Yvonne, I understand. So when these comments come up from members and other board members, it's like, where do we find the balance? Is this even something that we even think about or go back? That's why I thought I would throw it out to begin the dialogue, because I can see all sides, but even though I can see all sides, I don't have a solution as to what would be best to help motivate and let people know that when you come on the board of directors, you actually have to participate. You have to do your job, at least at a bare minimum, or other people on the board end up doing your job. And so that's the thing, is I don't know where the balance is, or even if we need a balance. That's why I wanted to throw it out to see if anybody had any solutions or ideas. I
This
yield the
is
floor.
Thank you, Yvonne and Shauna. I won't spend too much time on this topic, but very, very valid feedback. But if I may, I will use Yvonne as an example. Without question, Yvonne is one of the quintessential spears of the CCAA, right? Um, if you were to look at the letter of the law per the bylaws, right, she goes above and beyond in her functions. And we're grateful that we have that. But it's also unfair, right? It's also unfair to Yvonne and to several other board members currently on the board and previously on the board that have to have that burden of always carrying and going above and beyond. They're humans too. We're humans. We don't want people to get burned out. So I find it to be quite disrespectful when we have members of our community join a board of directors and essentially don't do their function. I think you're taking the seat of maybe someone else if individuals lose interest that would probably actually want to learn and maybe be willing to make mistakes like we all have, like I have, and actually learn and grow together. So I definitely hear where in the wrong board, and this is not this board, and I speak on behalf of the entire board, so I'm not worried about that. But in the wrong board, it could be abused. And I think that's that delicate balance that we'll need to find. But it is disrespectful to not even get a notification from your peers that they won't be able to join a meeting. I think it's disrespectful to not prepare for meetings, right? We meet once a month. And I think the short time that I've been on the board, this year, we probably have some of the shortest meetings, again, that I've had visibility to, and actually civil meetings, right? So I'm actually astonished that in an environment like that, which is not hostile, that you would still find individuals that are essentially absent without leave, if you want to use those terminologies. So um, I'm not for the code of conduct. I'm not against it. What I am for is respect to our board members. What I am for is respect to our members and respect to our breed. If people lose interest, life happens. Graciously step down and let the board find a suitable replacement, and or the community to find a suitable replacement. So that's my opinion on that. I yield the floor.
Anybody else have any input? Then it's definitely something that we should continue to figure out where the balance is, and how to get a fully functioning group of folks that carry the burden together. I don't know what that looks like either. And so I'm kind of with that. I can see the pros, I can see the cons. I'm not sure where the end result is. So that's all I have to say about that. I yield the floor, and thank you.
All right, perfect. All right, we'll move on to director number 4, events. Christine.
Hi there, this is Christine. Let's start with, I guess, Annette, I just wanted to clarify something for the Greeley show for you. The tables that are ordered, I've spoken now to Pat Healy and Ken. I get the vibe, just a little preempt for you, that we are in our own little area. The bunkhouse is right off of where our ring will be, and we have full run of the whole area, and really nobody should be near us. I guess we're out there. So we also have a deck on the bunkhouse that we can use, a covered overhang area. If I need to request more tables, I can. I might just ask for 2 more just for good measure, just in case, and we can move them around as we need. But from the vibe I'm getting is we're all alone out there. So we have full run of our own area.
Awesome. Thank you, Christine, for that clarification.
Yeah, as far as the show goes, the next show coming up obviously is Greeley. I think we've got everything going pretty well. Everybody's gotten their contracts, everybody's gotten back with us on their needs and things. I do have, I need to discuss maybe, and I don't know, if being new here, if there is a budget for the banquets. I do have some numbers. I've spent some time calling caterers, calling the only way we could have the BCI banquet, which I know we normally do in a hotel, but we have the bunkhouse. We would have to bring in obviously catered food and there's a company that works with the Island Grove location where we're going to be, and they have basically a contract we have to abide by for a bar, not open bar, I'm sorry, cash bar, but they would provide the staffing, the security guard, and the alcohol, and then we can buy as we would like. I've only considered having that for one night because it is kind of costly. I don't know. I would like some opinions or some suggestions of what everybody expects when we're out there. Again, I'm new at throwing this show as far as a national. I've thrown plenty of Breed Club shows, so I can do it in my sleep, but this is a little special and a little different. So if anybody has any suggestions or concerns, I did find out that basically the food in the area is Tex-Mex or it is barbecue, seems to be the 2 hotties, which we were considering. And for Shauna's day with the breed education and the guest speaker, we were going to try and do sort of a little lighter grab and go type food, like a little maybe platters or charcuterie boards kind of thing. That's where, Annette, we kind of need to get together. If there is going to be people to help us, maybe they could help us. We're going to have to get our own supply of drinks. There is a kitchen in the bunkhouse we can use. I found that out. He mentioned he thinks it has like a service window that you can hand things through, but I'm not too sure about that one. And I don't know, where do we go for a budget? I mean, everything seems to be the same. I'm going to be honest with you. Everything's running $20 to $25 a head. And then we have to pay the Island Grove gets a little commission off of the food vendors. So,
Hey Christine, this is Eve. What I would recommend, and this is part of some of the longer term efficiencies for the club. I would just say, if you have a number, let's talk about it, right? So just full disclosure, I may have mentioned this before. We've always hovered
yeah,
around four-ish to five K total expenditure in terms
okay,
of food and beverages, at least for the events that I've had my hands on, right? So for example, last year in Doswell, for the 3 nights, it was right around 5K or something like that, or 5,300, and that was for everything that we had there: Thursday night, Friday, and also Saturday evening, including the banquet, right? And this was all you can eat. And I didn't get any feedback from the individuals that were in Doswell that said, they left hungry, and the food was good. So
okay.
if you have a number in
Well,
mind, let's just talk about it.
well, looking at it, I mean, right now you're looking at anywhere from $20 to $25 a head, and then you have to add $500 for the concessions for the alcohol bar on the one night. That's a little costly. I mean, you're probably right. Anywhere from 48 to 5,000. Besides the point, we normally have this banquet in a hotel, which we are going to have to, in that budget will be, I'm gonna have to do the old Amazon tablecloths for each of the tables and develop some sort of ambiance for the room. I'm a very thrifty person. I'm not someone that's gonna go out and spend $1 million on that stuff. But I mean, we want it to be nice and we want it to be welcoming, and everybody has a minimum of 50 people on their catering to go there. So we got to get 50 people there. So 5,000 is probably very doable. I mean, we're gonna have to go buy, like lemonade, water, sodas and
Yeah.
stuff because I don't know, we don't have any vendors near us at all. I think they're all gonna be inside the building. So,
Right. And this will change, right? So last year in Doswell, Virginia, this wasn't at a hotel either. There was like a reception area. But for example, in 23, when we were in Houston, it was like in a hotel and we paid more money, right? So it just depends geographically, the cities
right.
where we're having it and what type of venues are there. So,
I did check into the hotel. I did check into that and it was gonna cost more to do it at the hotel. Everything was extra, extra, extra. So it was crazy. It was gonna get really crazy for one night, like for the BCI. Or I mean the bank, I'm sorry, not for the BCI, for the actual banquet. So, all right. So, I mean, I need to make a motion then, I guess, to get a budget approved. I'm hoping not to go over 4,800 to 5,000.
I'd like to amend your motion.
Okay,
Um, we're going to need petty cash. I plan on being there. I will have, well, maybe not. Let's do that. I will have the card with me, and I know Annette, you're planning on being there as well. So between Annette and I, if there's any other expenditures that's outside of that budget, we'll talk about it. We can address it. But I do know in previous years, um, we've not had a treasurer or anyone that has access to the club finances present. So we've had to make motions on having petty cash and essentially reimbursing any expenditures. So if the $5,000 motion that you're making is essentially to fund the events that weekend, and that's essentially the budget. Um, Again, I think that's on par with. I don't like to use the word historical, but that's essentially what we've been spending.
okay, okay. So the motion is for the traditional and petty cash.
No, no petty cash because
I mean, to have freedom to utilize the card. I don't know what you're asking me to amend my motion for.
I heard you say 48 to 5, correct?
Yes, yes, yes.
So is it just amended to 5, I guess?
Okay.
This is Shauna, I second.
We've got a motion for $5,000 budget for the national specialty food and beverages and other on-site festivities. We have a second, and we're open for discussion if anyone has any questions.
Actually, this is Annette. Christine, so is that budget just for the awards dinner, or is that budget also including if you're having hors d'oeuvres and, the little snack plates?
That that budget would include the whole weekend. That would do
Okay.
everything. That's
It's,
Okay.
everything.
it's
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
All right. Thank you for clarifying.
Do we need to talk about other event things? Would we like to discuss?
We can, but we currently have any other discussion on this motion to approve the $5,000 food budget?
Oh, okay.
Right. So it sounds like outside of Annette, any other questions or discussions? If not, anyone opposed to the motion? All right, unanimous consent. Motion passes for the $5,000 budget. Back to you, Christine.
I do want to let everybody know we have coordinated, and Yvonne's been very helpful, and we've gotten and we've gotten feedback. Yvonne, the awards will be mailed on the 23rd to Bonnie. I got a hold of Angela today.
Oh, well, thank you for handling that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was actually thinking about that yesterday, and I was like, oh, it's too early to start harassing anyone, but I appreciate you doing that. Yeah, every single award has been in some capacity ordered, proofs approved, paid for, and in production. And obviously now we have a potential delivery date on the plaques. There's only two things that I just gave information about were the Cool Coat products, because Christine and I were communicating about the colors. And then I need to get with Crystal on the colors on the non-AKC rosettes. So now that I know the colors that we're focusing on, I can get with her on that. The only thing I haven't ordered are the slip leads, and those are really quick to order. I just need to order that with access to a credit card because it's an online purchase. Everything else has been ordered and is gonna get to Bonnie sooner rather than later. So we're in good shape with all that stuff. Thank you, Christine, because I know you and I have been working quite a bit on that. Christine and I are also working on the invitations that are, and I'm going to repeat this for the members, they're commemorative because we made the announcements a couple times already about who's invited. So these are just commemorative invitations, and she and I are going to work on finding appropriate ones that fit the theme and getting those done and sent out so people have them. And that pretty much covers it. It's just now about like the online entry system and any other details that need to go on the website.
Right. Okay. Perfect. It seems it's going to run smoother now that we're all on the same page. And I will stay on top of the plaques and awards as far as making sure and they're getting where they need to. Yeah, I have no problem with that one.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you.
I was going to suggest also, and I wanted to do something. I feel like our show is awesome as far as we do a lot of work for it. It seems like everybody's involved. We're trying to pump it up, but I feel like we're missing out on a couple things, and that might be some online Facebook presence with maybe some not advertising. I'm not saying cost money and make the flyers. I like the flyers. I'm gonna go past the flyers. I'm talking about like announcements of what we're doing on a daily. I know we have it on the website, but I feel like we need to like just do something fun. And I don't know if anybody has Canva, that little tool, or I have Adobe. I don't know if I can do it on Adobe. My son would probably have told me. But I feel like we need to get the word out a little more now or sooner than later because people have to plan to go to this show. If we want them to come to see the guest speaker, we should put something out. Hey, Thursday or Friday, we have this guest speaker, so and so's coming. We got to get some word out there. And on those, we need to direct people to our website. When we direct them to the website, we're going to start getting clicks and hits, and it's going to start coming up more for people. And we can get them potentially to maybe sign up to come to the banquet once they're on the site. I mean, there's things we can be doing, and if I can, I will try very hard to make these flyers myself, and I want them to look nice. I'm not wanting garbage, okay? But I want to get the word out a little bit so that we have a situation where people know what we're doing. We're not just having a specialty. We're having a huge event. This is an event, and they're going to want to go to it. And in the upcoming 2026, I have some ideas and game changer. I know tonight's not the night for it, but there's things we can do to help the club along with these expenses and things that we need to do. And I'm already working on a few of them. It's just I jumped on board a little bit later than I could to get what we need to get done as far as to help sponsorships and stuff for the club